This testing and scaling setup has helped me scale multiple e-com brands past 100 grand a month, as you can see right here, and has helped my students go from 0 to 100 grand weeks, like Ian and Tim is doing 37 grand a day, and this is after the latest post Andromeda updates that have been nuking most people's campaigns. Now, the biggest mistake I keep seeing dropshippers make without them ever realizing they're making this horrible cardinal sin is killing products just way too early, and they're not giving their creatives a proper chance to actually become a winner, because most of their ads don't get any spend at all. So Papa E is going to give you my exact media buying rules so you never make that mistake again, and we're going to create a testing campaign live in front of your eyes that is going to give your products the best shot of working for you. And then I'm going to show you the best way to set up your pixel to get accurate data, because the native Facebook pixel is kind of trash, I'm not going to lie. And then finally, I'm going to teach you how pro media buyers actually look at their data and know to the dollar amount when to kill or when to scale their campaigns. So hopping right into our ad account, we're going to click create and do sales, because last time I checked, I can't deposit link clicks in my bank account. And then catalog, we're going to turn off. And I know this is the big debate. Should I do ABO or CBO? I'm freaking out. I'm losing my mind. I mean, this could determine my entire campaign. And no, it's not. I honestly don't care if you do CBO or ABO. I have mixed between them, but the reason right now I prefer ABO a bit more is just because you can guarantee spend into each one of your ad sets, and therefore you can make sure each creative gets a certain level of spend. Because obviously, if you do CBO, and the rest of the stuff really doesn't matter, you're going to have usually, let's say, 10 or 15 creatives you test. And really about 2 or 3 is going to get enough spend for you to actually have statistical significance to know, oh, it's not performing well. But those other 13 ads that you put all this time and energy into planning don't get any spend. Maybe it's 30 cents or 50 cents. And that's just simply not enough data to know if that ad is a winner or not. Just because Facebook isn't spending on it initially does not mean that the creative is a bust. A lot of times Facebook will optimize spend on the creative that obviously thinks will perform the best, but it can be wrong. And I have access to 50 plus of my student ad accounts. I've seen so many of my students go to $1,000 a day with creatives that initially just did not get the spend. So long-winded rants aside about very minuscule nerdy things, as we scroll on down to the ad set level here, we are going to maximize number of conversions. And I already have a pixel set up, so you just create one if you don't. But keep in mind, this is not the only pixel that we are going to have, because the native pixel with Facebook usually only tracks about 75 to 80% of your conversions, which is really bad, because obviously that means you could be missing purchases and missing information, which makes you turn off a potentially winning creative because you didn't get the proper data. As we scroll down, conversion event is going to be purchase, so we're going to just click on that. And when it comes to daily budget, I usually have a minimum of $20, or if I'm selling a more higher ticket product where typically you have to spend more money to get that data quicker, my general rule is I will spend half of my break-even cost per purchase on the ad set budget. So for instance, if I'm selling a product for $100, cost me $20, that means my break-even cost per purchase is $80. So half of that would be $40, and that would be my daily budget, just because if I set it low at $20, it would take me a lot more days to get the proper data. So it's either going to be 20 or half of your break-even CPA. When it comes to start date, honestly, again, this is one of those tiny nerdy things. I know it seems like kind of woo-woo superstition, but I do like to do it at midnight of the next day. And as we scroll on down, when it comes to locations, I usually like to do the big 4 countries. So United States, United Kingdom, bruv. Someone get a pint of Stella for this naughty fella, hey! And then, of course, we're going to do Australia, and then our good old neighbors in the north, the Canadians, who cannot be my Florida Panthers in hockey for the life of them. But we're going to do the big 4 countries, and then the big thing here, this is also a very big point of contention, is when it comes to interest, minimum age, all these things. Interest for me is just such outdated technology. Even Facebook says this, because your creatives are what's going to do the targeting. And when you think about it logically, if you put an interest, that is going to limit your audience size from 50 to 100 million people down to most likely 5 to 10 million, which means it's going to be more expensive to show your ads. And even if that interest becomes a winner for you, you have a less of an audience to scale to. So it just doesn't make any sense, because you're making your ads more expensive and there's less people to show your ad to. So just keep it broad, get out of Facebook's way, and let your ads do the targeting. And as we get to the ad creation, I have my Facebook page right here. And as we scroll on down, obviously you're going to put in your image ad, you'll put in your product page URL that you're going to send your traffic to. And when it comes to adding media, so your image or video ad, I don't really do any of these creative enhancements. I think they're honestly all kind of BS at the end of the day. It doesn't really help too much. So as we can see here, when we get it added, the text options don't really matter to me. So all these things right here, I know it's annoying, but you're going to have to just learn that this is part of the game. I don't know why Facebook does this, but I click on done, no enhancements. And then of course, you're going to drop in your ad copy text that usually you're just going to get from ChatGPT. So right here, we have our headline, and that is your first ad. So going back to my ad set, I usually have 4 ad sets because I test with 4 angles. So each ad set represents a different batch of creatives. Now, a batch could also just be you're trying a different format with the same angle, but Typically when testing, it's best to test different angles to find what resonates the most with your audience. So right here, we have 3 reasons why. That's the framework, it's a video ad, and then it's angle 1. So obviously you should know what angle 1, 2, 3 is when you're labeling that. And then typically I just duplicate the ads because I usually test with a batch of 4 to 5 ads. So all we'd have to do is click on duplicate. In this case, if I have 5 ads here, I could just label this number 1. This one would be labeled 2. And I know it's not the most sophisticated system in the world, but it's by far the most efficient. And then from there, our first ad set with our first angle is done. So I would do the same thing with the ad set level where I would duplicate it about 3 times. And then we would just put in our other angles and batches of ads. So when you're done, it should look something like this, where we have a benefit called image ad angle 2. And you can see here, some of these have 4 ads, some of these have 5 ads, but each ad set is its own batch of creatives because as we mentioned earlier, your ads are what do the targeting. And then as you can see here, when it comes to naming my campaign, I always do the name of my product and then what is that break-even point. So as we mentioned earlier, that is what you're selling your product for minus how much it costs you to fulfill. Now hold your horses, cowboy, because before we launch these campaigns, there are 2 crucial steps you have to nail down. And the first one is setting up your columns. You need to know your numbers so that when you look at the data, you know exactly what it's telling you. So click on columns and then click on customize columns and then just copy everything you see here on the right. I know it is a lot. You don't have to do everything. There are some custom metrics as well, like hook rate and hold rate. And if you're wondering how do you create a custom metric, all you need to do is click on create. And for hook rate, we would do a format of a percentage. And essentially it is your 3-second video plays divided by total impressions. So impressions just like that. And then you would click create metric. And then for hold rate, again, we do the same process, but the equation is video plays at 100% divided by 3-second video plays. So those are just good metrics when you're actually analyzing your video ads. And then looking at the rest, I just like to know what is my cost to get a click onto my website, how many of those people that land on my website actually make it to my product page, which is website landing page views. And then of course, add to carts, I'd like to know the cost of that. Same thing with purchases. And of course, we want to know what is our return on ad spend. But the most valuable resource that I can give you that is the essential behind all my media buying decisions is my KPI calculator. And I'm going to link this down below. You are welcome. And basically how it works is I plug in the numbers of what I'm selling my product for. So in this case, $60, how much it costs, $20, my profit target, which typically for e-com brands is about 20%. And as we scroll on down, I usually like to have a revenue per visitor of about $2 or more. So we have that all plugged in and then it spits out the exact KPIs that I use to evaluate all my creatives. Now, my general rule is I let every single creative spend at least $5. And if it doesn't have at least 2 link clicks or an add to cart or a purchase, I will kill it. But that's the bare minimum because below $5, you're not getting enough data to actually tell if that ad can become a winner for you. But then after that, it depends on our KPIs. So for this product at $13, I need an add to cart. That is non-negotiable or I'm killing that creative. And then finally at $26, if that creative doesn't have a purchase, we're killing it. But that's all dependent on you actually getting accurate data, kiddens. So the next step we're going to do is install WeTrack because this is just a third-party tool that helps your pixel be way more accurate than if it was just on its own. So when it comes to setting this up, what you're going to do is go to WeTrack to create an account. Then we're going to click on add a new store where you're going to add in your My Shopify URL. And as you can see right here, we're going to click on meta ads and then choose the pixel that you are right now running that campaign with. So for name, I'm just going to do the name of my store and then grabbing our pixel. So there was this one right here, AP pixel, and you can see the ID numbers right here. So we're going to copy that. And then to get the access token, we actually have to go to our events manager and go to that specific one that we just saw here. So we want to go to AP pixel and then we'll generate an access token. Now keep in mind, in order to do that, you have to have your email verified with Business Manager, which you should already do if you haven't already. So make sure you do that. And then we're going to hop on over to settings. As we scroll on down here, there's going to be a generate access token that pops up. There she is right there. I'm going to click on that. And obviously I'm not gonna be able to show you this because it's my access token, but you're going to copy this and then we're going to go on to the next step with WeTracked. And there she is. We're going to click on completes and bada bing, bada boom. We need to then finally connect our store. So we're going to turn that on and then we're going to install the app directly to our store. So make sure you have that. And once you do that, your tracking is going to be way better with your campaigns. So make sure you use that specific pixel. All right. So now we can launch our campaigns. And before you start freaking out like a chicken with its head cut off because you're spending money and it's not working and oh my God, why am I not making 1 million sales? Here's how I like to analyze things usually after 2 days of running. So we're gonna look at 2 campaigns here. And this first one, it is not looking so hot, but how do I personally go about analyzing things? Well, I always like to do it at the creative level. So as we can see here, we can just make sure we have all our ad sets selected and then we'll see all of our ads. And then we're gonna sort this by amount spent because as you can see, some of these ads haven't even reached our first benchmark, which is $5 a spend. So for those, we can't really make any decisions, but we talked about our first rule is at $5 or more, it has to have multiple link clicks. So we can see this one right here, only 1 link click, turned off. Next one, $6, no link clicks, turned off. And then as we look at the ads that did spend more than $5 and have multiple link clicks, then we know, all right, at that certain benchmark, what was the first one? $13. Then we need to have an add to cart. So all of these from 1 and above need to have an add to cart. So let's scroll to the right. Do they have add to carts? No, none of them do. So they all need to be turned off because they are not hitting our KPI. It's really that simple. You just want to give each ad a decent amount of spend so you actually give it a fair shake of becoming a winner for you. And obviously, if none of your ads are hitting, if you're not hitting the right KPIs, then usually that's a sign you should move on to the next product. Now, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe because I drop bangers like this all the time with the latest strategies and give you free resources that you can use to scale your brand every single week. But taking a look at a more positive example here, Pookie, and I just want you to keep in mind with this campaign, it's a little awkwardly set up. There is 5 ad sets, but inside of each one is only 1 creative. So keep in mind the ad set numbers are the same as the creative numbers. But as we scroll to the right, our first metric, the add to carts, right here, number 4 has no add to carts and it spent how much? $29, that's a kill. In fact, we should have saved some money there. But as we keep on scrolling, we have some ad sets with multiple purchases. So how do we actually go about scaling? Well, for me, the first way is vertically scaling. And this usually means I'm increasing the budget by 25 to 50%. It really depends on what the budget's at. So at a lower budget, I usually am going to do those 50% increases. So in this case, we're going to go from $10 to $15. And I would say once I'm at about $100 or more on the ad set, that's usually when I kind of go to 25% budget increases. And it's really up to you how aggressive you want to be because I know some of the most successful media buyers will do these budget increases after every single profitable day. So if I raise the budget from 10 to 15 and it works, then I'll bump the budget again by 50% the next day. But some people will do it every 2 to 3 days. It's really up to you. I would say for me personally, I like to do it every single day that it is profitable. And then vice versa, usually if I have 2 to 3 bad days in a row where it's not profitable, then I will lower the ad set budget back by 50%. But by far the most consistent way I've seen for scaling is once you have a creative that has 3+ purchases and is profitable. So in this case, this would be number 3. What I will do is I will duplicate it into its own scaling campaign. So we're going to click on new here. We're going to name this our scaling CBO. We'll just do 1 for the ad set name. And as we click on duplicate, I do an Advantage plus CBO. So let's go initially to our first setting here. And as you can see, we're going to turn this to campaign budget. We have Advantage plus automatically turned on. And when it comes to this budget, it's up to you. I would say the bare minimum you should do is at least 50 doubloons, but I usually start at 100 doubloons because I have more emotion than you. I'm a true wing app. I don't know what to tell you. But inside of this ad set, you are just going to have the exact same setup as the initial where it's just broad. You'll do the big 4, and then we'll have our 1 winning ad inside. And as you get more winning ads, I just drop them into this 1 ad set. So if we get a new winner, all we have to do is just quickly duplicate this first one here, and then we would just add that new image or video that's performing for us in our initial testing campaign. And then I just follow the same rules with that scaling CBO. It starts at $100 a day, and if it's profitable, I'll bump that budget up by 25 to 50%. But what should you do when you test a product for a few days and it's kind of break even, maybe you're losing a little bit of money and you just don't know what to do? And that's usually the spot you're going to be before you have your first real winning product. Like all of my students that are doing over $1,000 a day typically broke even in that testing phase. And all you have to do from here is just do some isolation. This is where you're going to cut the fat because obviously you're going to initially test 4 different angles, 5 different angles. And from there, really 1 or 2 are going to hit. So if we go back to our original scenario, the first day it was breaking even, but we already know 3 and 5 started to get some traction, 2, 4, and 1, not so much. But as we expand that time horizon to the first couple of days here, we can see 3 is the overwhelming winner. And we also had 1 that initially wasn't doing really well start to pick up some more purchases. So from here, we have 2 distinct winning angles. So all we need to do is just cut 4, cut 5, cut 2, cut our losses there, and start to isolate what did we do differently in ad 3 compared to the ones that weren't working here. So most likely it's because you took a specific angle. You should isolate that angle and make more ads with it. So trying different frameworks. So in this case, this was an image ad with simple text on it. It was a benefit called image. So I could try doing it as a problem solution video. I could try other frameworks of images. Like as you can see inside my 101 program, there are tons of different frameworks for videos and for images. And there are so many templates inside of each one that you have just an unlimited array of ads that you can make so that you can keep getting new winning ads. So let's say you figured out that angle and now you want to do an us versus them ad. Then obviously you would create your batch of 4 or 5 ads and I would make sure to choose a different template for each one. So this is a template, this is a template, and this is a template. But then when you actually want to go about launching those new ads, what I would do is go back inside your original testing campaign and all you have to do is create a new ad set. You can name it batch 1 or you can say angle 3. And in this case, we could do us versus them. And then you can label it as a new batch. So then from there, all we have to do is create that new ad set and you would drop in that new set of 4 to 5 ads. Now, if you do want access to all my ad templates, my product page templates, and all the resources that I've used to scale my brands and that my students have used to go from complete beginners to actually going to over $1,000 a day, then I'd recommend clicking that first link in the description down below, where you're not only going to get access to all the resources and AI workflows that I use to scale my brands, but you get 5 group calls with yours truly, where I will review your website, your ads, your products, and basically just give you all the feedback you need to get your first or next winning product over the next couple of months. So if you're interested, click that first link in the description down below, and I can't wait to make you my next success. And then of course, with your website, you want to be focusing on making that more profitable as well, because it'll make your ads job easier. So typically the highest value thing you can do is split test your offer. And I have so many videos on different offers you can test with and how to do so. But just a quick layman's explanation, I always use an app like A/B Convert, where I will create 2 product pages and then do a simple create new test, URL redirect, and I will send half of my traffic to one product page and then half to another. And as you can see right here, let's just go to one of the tests that I currently have running on this store. So as we can see with this test, we actually have reached statistical significance, meaning that we tested 2 different offers and one is clearly outperforming the other, because our revenue per visitor is $3.26 on one and the other is $3.76. So that's about a 15% lift, which we would have never known if we didn't split test. Now, the last cardinal sin that I see a lot of dropshippers still make is killing your creatives after 1 or 2 bad days. Because the reality is, if you think about it, there is 7 days in a week. If you are profitable 4 or 5 days of the week, that's awesome. And that's normal, because when you're spending a lower budget, usually data is going to be more inconsistent. Because if you're used to a good day being, oh, my creative got 1 purchase or 2 purchases, then really the difference between 1 or 2 to 0 is not a lot. So you have to keep in mind, once you spend more money, you're going to get more consistent data and your results as well will start to stabilize. But when you're in the initial testing phase, guys, things are going to fluctuate. Not every day is going to be profitable. So don't freak out. And I would always recommend, when you're making media buying decisions, if you have a week's worth of data, then do 7 days as your window of looking at things so you can be objective. So you can see here, okay, maybe ad 3 had a bad day, but over the last 7 days, yeah, it's been making me money. So I'm not going to panic. And then the other window that I will sometimes use is also a 3-day window. So in this case, I would do from the 18th to the 21st. And as we can see, ad 3 clearly working really well for me. Ad 1 as well, not too shabby. But yeah, if an ad has not been performing in that 3-day window and that 7-day window, then of course, turn it off. It's a waste of your money, and then just put that money into new ads.